Hey, what's up guys? This is Mario from RKDA, and in this video I am going to discuss why RKDA is up 300%. Alright, let's get started. So what really happened if we go back in time, and let's look at the timeline. Very important to really understand why this big move. So first thing in the timeline that I want to look at was actually March 7th. March 7th, let's look at the news. We see what's really going on in the news. So March 7th, RKDA Bioscience, they announced that they are planning to release its 2017 fourth quarter and full year financial and business results after market close on March 20, 2018. All right. So why is that important? That is kind of like a forward-looking statement, I guess you could say. They're talking about an event that's going to happen in the future. So some traders or investors take these events as a way to kind of speculate on those earnings. So because of that, you could tell that you could kind of give a telltale why you saw some volume accumulation on March 9th. Okay, because they're going to release an earnings report on March 20. So they're giving investors a heads up that they're going to release it, and there might be some traders or investors who might want to speculate on that to see if they can make some money on that move. So you see some volume accumulation on March 8th, and let's look at the timeline. Let's see if there's any news in March 8th. So in March 8th, I do see an article being posted on Yahoo Finance that says RKDA Bioscience is at break even near. So again, it's bringing these articles are out there to kind of bring more speculation, more knowledge, and set on information out to the public, to the general market, to kind of bring in some, I guess you could say, some eyes or some demand or some, I guess you could say, interest in the general public to maybe take a look at RKDA to see if there's something company they want to invest. So in a way, it's almost like a promotion. But again, we have to just look at the market and see how it reacts. So again, this article saying RKDA Bioscience is at break even near. So it's almost like promoting the company that it looks like is about to break even and make some money. All right, so let's look at stock chart. So if you guys could see on March 9th, the next day, we saw some volume accumulation. All right, so whether it be insiders, executives, investors, long-term investors, or traders who are speculating on a move near term, the chart tells it right away. There's definitely speculation because you see the chart traded on that day 949,000 shares. And I just want to quickly mention that RKDA only has 0.49 or 500,000 million shares float. So that's kind of like the supply. So it has very low supply. So if you really think about it, and actually the float rotated twice on March 9th. So there was definitely some demand. And then look at the chart. If you look at the chart, you can see on March 9 that it was definitely trending. So there was some sort of float rotation on March 9. So definitely, again, speculators, traders, investors were buying the dips for a big move. All right. So let's look at now March 12th. What happened on March 12th? Why do we see this big move on March 12th? So let's look at the timeline. So March 12th, this article, RKDA continues to rally up 65%. Thinly traded nano-cap RKDA is up on a healthy 24 times surge in volume in the first hour of trading. Shares have tripled since last week. No particular news on the action, although the company looks like it will need additional capital this year. At the end of September 2017, it had 15.7 million in quick assets. Operations consumed 11.3 million during the first 3 quarters. So you can see this is not a good company. It's literally pretty much consuming its cash. It's destroying its cash flow as time goes on because they're not really making any money. Hence, probably the reason why you have this article saying is RKDA Bioscience break even near, to maybe kind of ease the concerns of some investors that is not making any money. So just think about that one. So, you know what I mean? Someone may be trying to promote this stock, So keep that in mind, all right, guys? But then again, keep in mind that again, this move has no reason to go. This is what they call this move was an air. That's what some traders say. This move was an air. So maybe some I could see some again on March 12th, some traders maybe speculating on it, buying the dips, looking for the momentum, trading the momentum. But then again, you got short sellers coming on the backside. Again, there's no justification for that move, and they're gonna short sell it. You know, it's up 65% on March 12th. No reason it should be up there, so they're gonna start shorting and putting their position. And some of them most likely were long, and some of them most likely put their stop around 1888 and looking for that swing. Hopefully, it could go down back to $5 or less, or $7, short around 18, and maybe it goes back to 7 or 8, and that's like a 100% move, I guess you could say. I mean, that's like doubling your money. So yeah, it could definitely be a good short. So definitely a lot of swing traders added up in these pops, and they're holding short in the swing. And why do I know this? Simple. Let's look at the short. Now this is shortvolume.com, and I'm looking at the short volume on RKDA the last 5 days. So this is March 9th. So definitely some short volume March 9th. If you guys can see right there, like 40 million, 0.4 million, again, which is 400,000. So half of the pretty much the volume was short. And again, keep in mind that on March 9th, there was 949,000 shares traded. So that was float rotation, short and longs. March 12th, again, up 65%. Like I said, some short sellers went in. Again, now we're talking about almost 80%. Actually, almost, 0.8 million shares were shorted. So again, there was some float rotation on March 12th, and it looks like it was a 50% short and 50% long. But again, shares, kind of did, if you guys can see, bears or short sellers did win. As you can see, the day kind of just started a trend, and even on March 13th, the stock was downtrending and fading off, and literally looked like it was probably going to head down to 8, 7, or even 0 eventually. Again, because there's really no concrete information to justify this type of move. All right, so keep that in mind. So if you guys can see, short sellers are piled in, and around 50% of the float, which is 250,000 shares, are short. All right, so keep that in mind. All right, so by the end of March 13, again, it's faded off, and we'll see the continuation. All right, now let's come to today, March 14. What really happened today? All right, now this is the real move, and this is what happened. So in March 14, RKDA made another announcement. This is a PR news from RKDA itself. Okay. So this morning, RKDA announced that it has achieved 2 milestones in its high fiber resistant starch wheat program. First, it has developed 9 transgenic wheat varieties. They contain up to 94% amylose or prebiotics. Now, just so you know, this doesn't really matter. What really matters is that it announced positive news in the stock. Okay? And what also matters is the short ratio, the short volume, what percentage of people are short on RKDA on March 12 and March 13, because they were looking for that fade back to 8 or back to 7. And what really happened is these short sellers got squeezed out. So once they announced that, all these short sellers got squeezed. Okay, and then you can kind of see they announced it around the morning, 6 in the morning Pacific time, and then you can slowly see short sellers covering, dip buyers buying in, momentum traders getting in, and then that's where you got this humongous dungo move. So that's really what caused it. Short sellers getting in too big on March 12th, March 13th, because again, there's really no justification on RKDA being up this high. Boom. March 14, company puts out a PR announcement that they what was it again? That they achieved 2 milestones in its high fiber resistance. Again, the news doesn't really matter. What matters is that they put out the statement, they put out the announcement that was positive for the company overall, and boom, short sellers had a cover. You got momentum traders getting in for the move and buying those dips, and short sellers have no other reason but to cover. Now, there's another thing. That I want to mention is T+2, because a lot of short sellers who opened their positions short on March 12th, who are borrowing their shares from a broker that are not on our loan, they had a margin call. They had to get bought out, because T+2 means on the day you traded plus 2 days you have to cover. So you shorted here, first day, second day, you have to cover by the second day. So March 14, all those traders who shorted on March 12 and they were holding over, they're swinging it for hopefully for to go to 8 or 5, had to cover by force by their brokers on March 14 because of T+2. And not only that, you kind of include a PR statement, and then you have momentum traders like myself coming in to push this stock higher. Now you get some serious short squeezes, and that's literally what happened. And again, keep in mind, this stock has only a 500,000 float, 500,000 float, which is insanely small. That's probably one of the smallest floats I've ever seen. Now, just to kind of compare it to another company that we all know of, like Netflix, just a comparison, Netflix has a 429 million share float. And just so you guys know, float is the supply. I'm sure you guys remember from economics class, supply and demand. Small supply, high demand, prices go up. High supply, low demand, prices go down. And in this case, RKDA, you had high demand, low supply, high demand from, again, short sellers getting squeezed out, short sellers getting cover margins from their brokers because of T+2, and you have momentum traders coming in, and then the float is very, very small. It's just everything just kind of gets together and combines, and then you get this insane squeeze on RKDA, up 300%. And what makes it worse, actually, believe it or not, is that short sellers, they were shorting. They kept shorting. And again, the flows kept rotating. You know what I mean? So look, for example, today, 13.8 million shares were traded. So with a 500,000 float, we're talking about this stock literally rotated, like 20 times. We really think about it, which is insane. You know what I mean? So this stock rotated all of its shares like 20 times. So that means there was momentum traders literally just focusing on buying the dips near the VWAP, selling at the tops, short sellers shorting at the tops, getting trapped by the dip buyers, and then had a cover, and then they're trying it again, and dip buyers just kept buying it, short sellers keep getting squeezed out, and you get these humongous moves. You know what I mean? So it literally, what it really is just a humongous short squeeze on float rotation. Like everything that could go wrong for short sellers went wrong on this day. The swing short, the short sellers who put on a short swing on March 12th, worst thing that could happen, getting a call on margin, getting bought up automatically because of T+2, which happened today. And the second thing is such a low float, 500,000 float. This thing could just move, and you have this humongous demand. Again, 13.8 million shares traded. So this stock, the float literally rotated like 20 times or more, and then you got these short squeezes, these moves, insane moves. And then you got short sellers again, shorting here, shorting at pops, covering it at the bottoms, and then you got dip buyers, momentum traders buying those dips and letting it rip again. Insane move. So hopefully this made sense, guys. So again, there's a lot to this type of move. These type of moves don't just happen. Now they are rare because things literally just lined up against against short sellers. Again, this happens, but it's rare. But everything that could go wrong for short sellers went wrong on this day. Again, timeline, and they announced earnings on March 8th. There were some articles pumping it that it might break even. You had some dip buyers, either investors or speculators, dip buying, accumulating shares. Second days, there was some momentum on the trade on the shares. The buyers bought it in and up 65%. March 12th, short sellers came in, shorted it again because the stock has no real reason to be up. It's up in air. There's no justification, and that's how short sellers think. They shorted it. Boom. And it was fading. So all these guys are thinking to themselves, look, this is fading. This could go to 8. This could go to 5. Boom. Company sends out a PR news that they hit 2 milestones, etc., etc. Short sellers have to cover because of T+2. And then you have this huge, humongous move. All these momentum traders buying the dips. Short sellers shorting the pops. Then keep getting squeezed out. You're trapping out short sellers. And then you get these humongous moves. And again, keep in mind, guys, this happens because also the main other reason that also this thing happens because it's just such a small float. Again, we're talking about 500,000 share float. Again, to compare that with Netflix that has over 400 million share float is a humongous difference. And again, the float is like the supply. So in economics, supply and demand. If you have high demand, low supplies, prices go up. That's what happened with RKDA. Now, if there is high supply, low demand, prices go down. So that kind of explains, I guess the overall picture of the mathematics or the economics side of it, supply and demand. All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. I hope you guys learned something from this trade. I know it sounds like there's a lot to it, but there really is. So, again, stay safe. Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow? I mean, there's a lot of things that could happen. Again, they were saying they may raise money again, and they raise money, and again, they might raise money because again, they are almost because they're consuming cash like an insane amount of cash. So they may raise money, so that means that they might price it or something like that. They might have to sell some shares or increase the amount of share float so they could raise some money because this company literally is about to run out of cash. So if that happens, this stock tomorrow may sell off, but we don't know. We'll see what happens tomorrow. So again, stay safe, guys. Hope you guys learned something from this trade. Again, any trades you guys make, you make on your own. And hope you guys learned something in this video. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, and you guys will hear from me soon. Have a good one, guys.